Lily,
Mr. Cullen.
we're going to discuss first a few objects which are directly related to warfare and the funeral, and then afterwards we go, of course, to your preferred field, the vases,
Yes.
where we have very rich representations. We will also discuss at a later stage this wonderful, possibly pedimental sculpture of a hero or warrior behind me. Now let's first start with this incredible sword. Yeah. This, of course, you can't see on the screen now, but you will have detailed photographs showing you the wealth which is done on this sword, which I bought from a fellow dealer in Israel. It was rather lumpy, and we restored it extremely carefully after it arrived here in Basel with an Israel Antiquities Authorities export permit. As Israel is a country where you can buy this and in a very efficient way have the export permits allowing you to bring it in. Now, what surprised us completely, the restorer and me, is the incredible quality of the workmanship, which is a sign of prestige. It's a sword, possibly Luristan, but certainly Near Eastern, and I would say from the first millennium BC. But look at the wealth you have here. Enamel inlay, you have copper buttons inlay, very fine engravings on this iron sword, which is very complex. The more you look at it, you see how elaborate it is done.
It's very heavy too.
Very heavy, yes indeed. Though half the blade you see here has been restored and reconstructed.
So it would have been massively heavy.
It's a massive sword in iron with a tinned bronze end, which is again very heavy. So there is a lot of prestige in single weaponry, and this is a phenomenon on which I have worked a lot, and that they represent wealth, they represent also power, and this is a tradition which will last for more than a millennium. Weapons are very precious, and at the same time they are tools to kill.
So do you suppose this would have been used, or it was just ceremonial, just for burial?
Not at all. It was used. We see that phenomenon on many weapons which are very preciously decorated, and still they were used, yes. I think we have to be aware that the idea of just parade armor is a bit more complex. When you look, and we will discuss that at a later stage, I think you're very much in love with this horse. And for example, Alexander appearing in battle is also a mixture of a program in his representation, what he's wearing, its detailed description, what he's wearing, the cloak given by Rhodos, the whole way he appears, but at the same time he uses this material for battle.
So it's showmanship, but also integrated.
Yes, so it has to be functional still, okay? Now we are having from the same country, so this comes from Israel, and could be even a find from Israel. We have this very elegant but very simple helmet. This helmet is enigmatic. You see, this helmet, when I bought it in a small Israeli sale, it was squashed. It's a river find from Israel, and it comes with, again, an Israeli Antiquities export license. I had it opened up very carefully by my restorer, and it was squashed because it suffered in a river, and the shape is incredible. The shape is totally simple, and it's a sword. It had at the top here, it had obviously a crest decoration which vanished. We have a lot of rivets showing that there was something attached to the top, and at the same time that helmet has a shape which we know very well from the 15th century Italy in iron. So here functionality prevails. We have already in the 6th or 8th century BC in the Near East a shape which is repeated more than later than 1,000 years, again because it's such a practical shape.
Yes, but with the addition of this horsehair crest, which would have, it was really made to make the warrior more fearsome looking to his enemies.
And possibly also to show his function within a unit.
Yes.
There is always two sides to it, and here the shape reminds you of Achaemenid helmets, but also there are some things from Scythian helmets of the period. Those are in iron. So we have here a very rare specimen, very simple, in excellent condition. The metal can still be bent, and with virtually no exact parallel, and the find spot is in Israel, a river find, so near Aklit. So this is really an interesting specimen. Then we come to this very remarkable terracotta, which you like very much because you like horses. So
well, yes, and I mean, coming from the very, very stark simplicity of this bronze helmet, you can see the horseman here has this really crazy helmet, which you suppose existed in real life as well, with bull horns like this.
Yes, you have these horns attached to the so-called Italo-Chalcidian helmet. We do have surviving examples in Berlin, but also in Italian museums and in private collections. It's actually not that rare. The Bill, the warrior, the cavalryman in this case, identifies himself with the function of the animal he chose. Here it's a bull with the ears.
With the ears, which are very sweet, actually.
Yeah. And he's in full flight, you know, he's in full
charge.
Yes, full charge. Actually, he's at the same time he has a fluttering coat over his cuirass.
Which would have gone like this.
Then you see he has a belt. It's very detailed. This little belt is the typical Greek italic belt, which is worn in Apulia. So he's wearing, and you see, even they took the care to draw here the rivets and also the hooks. It's a typical belt of about 350-340 BC, which we know so many from funerary context.
And we should say something about the polychromy, which is really remarkable here. So the harness still has traces of dark red, same with the bridle, whereas you can see the flesh here, it also has a kind of pink flesh tone of the rider, and the helmet is in blue. So it's sort of special in this way.
You see, what he's wearing under this coat, under this chiton, is an armor. And we have here a typical example of the heavy armed Tarentine cavalry, which was so famous in the mid-4th century BC, and which is reflected on so many terracottas from Apulia. The tail was, by the way, separately made and attached.
And probably really flourishing.
Now, such a piece would have been added to the side of a huge funerary ascos. You would have two horsemen riding
enormous
away.
Vessel.
Yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is a little romantic, maybe, but I can't help but look at a late 4th century rider such as this with a charging noble steed and not think of Alexander the Great and the most famous horse from antiquity, Bucephalus, who carried him all the way from Macedon as a teenager to the Punjab, where he was given a hero's burial. So
I have to add to this. This is not just a romantic idea. The horse, the heroized horse, quasi,
ox-headed Bucephalus,
yes, is actually not wrong. You have this horse is richly adorned around the head. It has falleri, and it has, the roundels decorating. And the fact is that the aristocracy from southern Italy very much was influenced by Alexander's campaigns, as we can see on Apulian red figure vases, the famous Daraios vase, for example, in Naples.
Oh yes, it was almost a more direct conduit to southern Italy than mainland Greece.
Yes, also by the way in existing armor. So this connection is there. There is a strong connection iconographically between Macedonia and southern Italy in that period, because obviously Alexander impressed so much the Western Greek world. It's much more
had to deal with him directly.
They are much more connected than we assume.
Yeah.
It's though you have to travel a lot, much longer, they are interconnected. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these comments on Greek vases from the same time coming from southern Italy, which relate directly to the heroism of Alexander and so forth. So your point is right.
Oh, good. I
Yeah.
love being right.
Yeah, she's very often right, by the way, and that is so fun to discuss then. Thank you very much.